That's right. As we seek to simplify the path forward, we're going to talk about a simple shifting the mindset icebreaker that helps us in all avenues of our life. If we look at this, it's called Rose, Rose, Thorn, Bud. And what we're looking at is to really bring a little bit more joy and certainly gratitude, which increases our joy, happiness, health, and well-being. The first thing is, if you could just write down one positive thing that's going on well for you right now, either grateful for something or makes you happy. And when you're done writing that positive thing, take a deep breath and think about what you wrote down. And then you're going to go to another rose, always staying that much more positive than the challenges that are before us. And you're going to write down one more thing that's going well, something that you're grateful for, something that makes you happy. And then we're going to think about a challenge or an issue that we're dealing with right now. And something that's really light in your bucket, not something very heavy, just something light to think about. And notice how it makes you feel. And remember, when we have challenges or issues, we take them, we label them, we take a deep breath, let them filter through, and watch them float away on a cloud. And then the bud piece is thinking about, write down one new idea that's blossoming or something new to experience, something that you're looking forward to. And when you look at this progression, right, you're thinking about that one good thing going well. And then you add another thing that's really going well. And here's your rose. And then there's something that pulls you back or challenges you a little bit. But again, you just name it, label it, take that deep breath, let it filter through, and then start thinking about how to bud new ideas that can blossom into new experiences and new things to always keep you on the right side of joy. And you can use this at home. You can use this when you have to work with someone that you don't particularly, embrace that easily. Naming two positive things, two roses about that person. One thing of just how it makes you feel, and then that bud, thinking about how you can really blossom it into a new thing or an experience. This is a great icebreaker to do so that you can actually discuss it with your staff. To always start on the right side of things. Rose, rose, thorn, bud, simplify your path going forward. Next.
So for the HeartMind community, what we're giving you today is a sampler. Rather than going through and reiterating things we've said over the last two webinars, over the last 2 weeks, we refer you simply to those previous webinars. And you can get links to those webinars when you receive the slides at the end of the presentation today. So within a day or two, you will get the slides, you will get the presentation, and you can go back to the prior webinars for more details. So on this page are a few things that we haven't shared with you yet, and we're really excited about. And Michelle, do you want to talk about the heart songs to begin with?
I sure will, because heart songs are those deep connections we have to something. It's something that makes our hearts actually sing. And I'm excited because part of this, we will have a weekly heart song that actually comes from our books to really remind us of something that's really important. And we talked about consciousness last week as maybe being a beginning exercise where you really start paying attention to yourself and others in your environment. So a heart song may be something like this. With consciousness, we are invited to open our eyes our ears and our hearts to the lives of others, to their being, to their voice, their beauty, and their needs. And that is in our second book, The 5 C's, Mindful Community. And this just again is a great way to start on the right side of the tracks. More joy than heartache as you start and begin your day, and think of all the challenges we've been through. When you wake up with a healthy mind, healthy perspective, then your heart can really find its heart songs and start singing.
So if you look down at the bottom right, it says Coalition for the Future of Education. Now, this is kind of an offshoot from what we're doing with the HeartMind community. It's a little bigger, a little more expansive, but what's happened with my center is we've realized, sometimes they say to make change, you need a disruptive influence. You need something just to totally come in and say, stop. We need to reconfigure what we're doing. And of course, this last year has been that something. So what would we like to have for the future? Part of our work is visioning the future, envisioning what heart-centered learning would look like, envisioning what it would look like if we alleviate stress, if we pay attention to neuroscience. So we are setting up a coalition for the future of education. And this is just a little prelude. So we will be telling you the 1st of January about how you can join that coalition, about what we want to achieve. But we'd like you to start thinking about it. Think about things you would like to bring forward into the future, things that have worked well, things that maybe have troubled you for years and years and years. And what could we do differently if we had a mind shift? And as we proceed, I would ask you one more thing. If you would do this favor for Michelle and I, we're going to talk later today about our HeartMind community and our virtual book studies. These will start in January, late January and February. And we can host these at either noon or 4 p.m. Now, if there's another time you tell me that's really better, we could aim for that. But we're looking at possible Wednesdays and noon and 4. And if you can let me know which would work for you and for your staff, that would be great. Next. Okay, part of our sampler is heart beaming. So I'm going to record a heart beaming meditation and send to you, those who join the community, once a week on Fridays. If you've been with me the last few weeks, or maybe over the last couple of years, you know that heart beaming is one of the things that we care deeply about, and we believe it's a wonderful self-care practice. And so it usually begins with some breath work. And today I'm going to take a little extra time to share 2 types of breaths. And the first is what we call left and right nostril breathing. Now, what does that mean? Would you believe if you breathe from your left nostril, inhaling left, and you might want to try it with me, and exhaling right, that is a calming breath. And you can close your eyes if you like and do this a few times. Inhale left and exhale right. And as you continue to do this, you may find that you're kind of centering more in your body. I can feel the energy shifting lower into probably the solar plexus, my navel point area. So that's breathing through the left nostril. Now we're going to reverse it. So you can inhale through the right and exhale left. And do this a few times. Inhaling right, exhaling left. and maybe once or twice more. And then you can lower your hands. Keep your eyes closed and sense how you're feeling, whether you notice a difference. The right nostril breathing actually will activate your system. So if you need energy, you need to focus, it's a really good breath to do. This breath can be done with children of all ages, with teachers, with staff. So it's kind of amazing, no special gadgets, don't have to pay a lot of money. You got the body here, you got your hands and your breath, your nose, and you can simply shift your mood by either doing the left nostril breathing, which calms you down, or the right, which activates your system. So now what we're going to do is we're going to do a little left nostril breathing. And sometimes it takes a while to figure out, is this really happening? So I want to just reassure you that if you didn't quite feel the difference, practice a little more, see what happens over a few times, and see if you can tell. But what we're going to do is left nostril breathing, and then I'm going to lead you in a heart beaming meditation. So you can close your eyes, sit straight, feel the symmetry, take a couple deep breaths, and then do the left nostril breathing, inhaling left and exhaling right. In your eyes, you're focused on that area right between the brows. That actually connects to the pineal and pituitary glands, which will help us to calm down. Now, if you'll take your hands, put your left hand over your heart and the right hand over the left. Continue to breathe long and deep and feel the warmth of your heart. It's almost like a melting sensation. And then imagine that people in your community, in your school, are doing this together. And that it expands. So people around the world are just taking a few moments to breathe together, to get in touch with their heart. To feel a sense of joy and peace. And imagine as we do this that the joy is contagious. That people are beaming, they're smiling, they're uplifted. And that they're sending good wishes to everyone. And you're receiving their good wishes. So inhale and exhale. You can relax your hands down. Take a couple deep breaths. And I don't know about you, but I'm always amazed what a few minutes of deep breathing and heart beaming will do. Just a nice break from the busy, busy day, busy lives we lead. Next slide. So, what do we offer you? We gave you today a heart song, a heart beaming meditation. We've shown you a little about what you can find out about if you go back to our previous webinars. I want to speak for a moment about our books. If you want to join our HeartMind community and the virtual book studies, here's a good deal. Our publisher, Solution Tree, is offering 20% off on the mindfulness books between now and December 31st. I'm just giving you that deadline so that you don't later find that you've missed the deadline. These books are now available as ebooks, which, Michelle and I really urged our publisher to go that way. We realized that for teachers in particular, and particularly for the Mindful School Communities books, there's lots of exercises. And if teachers had the ebook version, they would be able then to look at it, cut and paste, right? Highlight, take excerpts from that to do their preparation and planning. So we think that's a good deal. The Visioning Onward book will help not only with the HeartMind community and what we're trying to achieve, but also for the Coalition for the Future of Education. So we just urge you to look at these. Next slide.
Again, as we talk about the HeartMind adventure, we've talked about the 4 quadrants of observe, reflect, journal, and deepening your understanding. And we encouraged you to start with consciousness, or one of the 5 C's, and really start noticing on a daily basis how you're incorporating that. So if you take consciousness, right, and if you take just the icon or heart stickers, and you place them strategically in places that you can't miss, from the mirror in the morning to your desktop to your desk alone, or somewhere in the kitchen, because we can never spread enough love or heart. So it's a perfect icon to remind you to really pay attention to yourself, to others around you, and your environment. That's the first part of really deepening your understanding about consciousness. And these, again, the theme of joy, right, runs through, as Chris did in her meditation, as I did in the icebreaker. When we stay on the greater side of joy, we are able to really move through these challenging times. Not only individually, but collectively as our community. So we encourage you to have fun with it. And even at home, you can have fun with it. When your family sees that icon, right, of a heart, everybody just smiles when they see a heart usually. And to really pay attention, am I fully present? What's going on here? How do I feel? What is happening? It really is the beginning step of understanding the 5 C's, is that higher level of consciousness and awareness for each other and ourselves. And Chris is going to talk to you about the January calendar, which is right around the corner.
Okay. So sometime in the first week of January, Michelle and I, hopefully with our co-author, Yvette Jackson, will have a Facebook Live presentation on self-care. So we'll get information to you as we finalize that date, but sometime between the 6th and the 8th will be that Facebook Live presentation. Each month, we will have the HeartMind e-news come out, which will be about the 2nd Wednesday, and it'll have a theme. The theme for January is equity consciousness. And related to that then is a HeartMind community meeting on the 27th, a couple weeks later. Orinthia Harris, who works with us, does a wonderful job about talking about what we need to do to end racism and to have more justice in schools. And she's going to join me. She's actually helping to write the lead article for the e-news. And then she will join me on the 27th for our community support meeting, where we can come together and talk about issues that you want to talk about, your staff wants to talk about. How do we have a more joyful, mindful community, heart-centered community? But equity consciousness will be part of what we discuss on the 27th. Next slide.
And Chris, how appropriate is it to go into February with a concentration on compassion, right? The month dedicated to heart and to love and to compassion. And this is where we will start our book study somewhere in the middle of the month. And what we will have is we will have 3 different sessions that cover each of the 3 chapters. First, for mindfulness practice, and then for mindful communities. And it will give you the opportunity to really access the material in prep. And what you will do is, once you join the heart centered community, you will be able to become part of our book study, which we really hope that you do, because this community is so worthwhile when you think about it, that it's not a lot of time, but it really will set the foundation in the premise for opening your heart and for really developing compassion within your own life and within your school community.
Michelle, I'd just like to add too with this, that if your school decides to join, wonderful. We'd love to have a coordinator at your school that we can kind of connect with and help to assess, like, how's it going? What else could we do to support you? What's happening in terms of implementation? But we're also available if you want us to work just with your school or your district in a private way, then contact Michelle or me, and we'll talk to you about what can be done there as well. So Michelle is actually the lead author of our e-news in February, which will be on a compassionate culture, or cultivating compassion in schools. And then Michelle and her daughter, who is, what year is she now? Is she a senior?
Hard to believe, but senior in college, yes.
Will be joining us. And so we're going to get the voice of youth, which is part of our theme for this next year. You're going to see a lot more related to youth and hearing from them and what we do. So they'll join us on the 24th of February. Next. So upcoming events, I think we've mentioned most of these. So here's just a visual reminder for you. And really looking forward to this, because, I mean, Dr. Harris, and Orinthea's worked with me for, 5-6 years. She just completed her doctorate last year. So we're so pleased to introduce her as Dr. Harris. She has a lot to say about equity.
And she's very exciting and engaging to listen to. So we're excited about that. And as we head into the holidays, Chris and I both just want to remind you is to really think about, how can I best simplify my path going forward, make it less complex and very, very much more simplified, back to the core of who we are, to our hearts, and taking time to take care of yourselves is so important. And to absolutely stay positive and test negative as we enter this new year of hope, happiness, and health, right, Chris?
That's right. Absolutely. So next slide. Here's how you can contact us. So you'll be getting these slides. And then the next slide. We have a few minutes if you want to hang around for questions or discussions. Again, we're asking you to help us come up with the best time for our communities and our book studies. And we're thinking Wednesdays, and we're thinking either noon or 4 o'clock.
But again, if you have a whole district or a school and there's a time that works better, maybe it's a staff meeting once a month, then we can work with that as well.
This is going to be our year to scale up. Noon is great, wonderful. We know that many times people feel more fresh, more alive in the middle of the day, particularly after all these Zoom meetings. So if noon will work, that would be wonderful. But if somebody needs a later time, let us know. Okay, but right now it looks like we're headed towards noon, Michelle.
Right. Awesome.
Well, I'm not seeing any questions. Do we need to open the mics for a minute for anyone? If you could just Wonderful. Raise your hand if you'd like to have the mics open.
And I've opened the mics. If you'd like to unmute yourself, you should be able to.
Okay. Otherwise, if you're leaving us, we want to say, have a happy holiday. Enjoy the season, and keep peace and joy in your heart. And what you do can be so uplifting for others. It really can. It makes a huge difference.
And thank you for what you do each and every day.